That was insane. When you're swinging on something like that, that's like when people make fun of parkour. That's realistic. That was a sick jump. The biggest cat leap that I've ever seen in person. We are back, folks. My name is Omar Zaki, the local gameology parkour expert, and today we are looking at the evolution of Uncharted. Super popular, super famous game, super incredible franchise. Let's take a look. This guy just woke up in a very perilous situation. Okay, it's a train. That's a great reveal. Like, what a great opening for a game. Like, you don't know who this guy is. You don't know what's going on. All you know is that he's hanging off of a train in the middle of Antarctica somewhere. Hope you guys don't skip hanging day, getting your pull-ups in, or else you would not make it very far. Oh my god! Okay, this is not a situation that anyone would want to be in. This feels like James Bond or something. I do love ugly climb up. So in parkour, we call that climb up when you go from hanging on something to getting up on top of it. And in parkour, we don't like to use our knees or our shins or our elbows to climb on stuff. We like to use our hands and our feet. And he just completely used his knee. So for me, the parkour instructor in me is saying, no, don't use your knees. But also the man is literally fighting for his life right now. So maybe we'll give him a pass. That's cool. Little pole QM. QM in parkour stands for quadrupedal movement. Just a fancy term for it means you're using all four of your limbs.
I'll climb up and around. I'll let you in if it's safe.
Nice Dino. So again, that Dino is where you go from hanging on a ledge to kind of catapulting yourself up to a higher ledge. That's called a Dino in parkour, and Uncharted has a ton of these Dinos. Dinos are not easy, by the way. They make them look... That was insane. Those dinos are quite big for a human. So generally what you want to do with something like that in parkour is you don't want to just throw yourself up to a higher ledge, because if you're doing this in real life, you don't actually know if what you're going to is secure and stable and can actually hold your weight without breaking. So generally you would always want to find a way to test something with half of your weight and then try to hang on to it more to make sure it's not gonna break. So if you ever climb on stuff, you always want to test it first. That's how you make sure that you keep yourself safe. Jeans would probably be the worst thing you could possibly do this in, unless they're flexible jeans, which are the only jeans that I own now, because non-flexible jeans are awful in my opinion. Okay, I like how it was kind of a messy, dirty roll, which makes sense for this character. That was crazy. Jump to a chain. He jumped with the torch, then right before he grabbed the chain, he let go of the torch and then grabbed the chain. Did he die? Oh, he totally just died. And he did it again. Right as he grabs the chain, he lets go of the torch. Now that is some hand-eye coordination, folks.
What are you doing? Move, Nate, they're after you.
So that was actually very physically proper. When you're swinging on something like that, you want to release right at the peak of the swing, so you go up when you release to get as much distance as possible. So that was very technically correct. We call that a lâche in parkour. I don't know why he did that. He could have just walked around. That's like when people make fun of parkour when they do completely unnecessary stuff. That was completely unnecessary. Yeah, what I'm really noticing about Uncharted, and they seem to have, hey, something broke. That's realistic. That's why you don't trust things with your weight. We just talked about that. But yeah, what I love about the Uncharted franchise is they keep him messy. He's not supposed to feel like a superhero. He makes mistakes. The way that he does stuff is kind of ugly, kind of just like your everyday guy trying to figure it out. Obviously, he's really strong in order to be able to hang and pull himself up on these different types of ledges, but they still give him that like everyday guy kind of feel. Interesting, he was actually doing a hand over hand technique rather than matching hands and then moving where you never cross over. He was actually crossing over. And if you think about it, like this position would not be a strong hanging position, but if you're here, this is a stronger position. So a little interesting that they actually had him do this crossing hand over hand motion. These are the really fine details that like when you do this stuff you see. That's ridiculous. You gotta be so strong to do this. You have to be so strong. But God, this would be such a fun rock climbing challenge if like they built a rock climbing wall on the side of like a castle like this on the side of a mountain. That would be every kid's dream come true.
Ooh, that was close.
Those jumps are cool. They're very, she's really having to over exaggerate to make them. They're really is that supposed to be like Lara Croft she's with? No, she's just dressed like Lara Croft with the tactical camo pants.
Don't drive off, though. Don't take too long.
Again, all of these characters have these ridiculous dinos. Now, it wouldn't be fun if you were playing the game and it took forever to climb everything, so I get it, but again, just from an actual strength perspective, dinos like that are so hard. That was actually pretty realistic speed when you're hanging on both arms like that and you pull up with one and then you match the other hand and then you do it again. That was actually pretty realistic timing, and you could see her like realistically struggling with the effort, and yet to now somehow be able to launch herself up 30 feet at a time. Yeah, a little bit of mismatching in terms of consistent effort it takes to actually do these things. Every comment's always like, it's a video game. I know. Honestly, the thing that I'd be worried about the most if I'm hanging on a wall like that is just like spiders coming out of a hole while I'm hanging 3,000 feet off the side of a building, and like spiders climb on my hands and I would freak out and probably just let go by accident and just fall down to my death.
Nice to be out of that.
That was a sick jump. We call that a cat leap in parkour, when you jump across a gap or something and you land hanging. Oh my God, that was crazy! Nobody's arms could ever withstand that.
On the mountain. Here come the other.
I would say the biggest cat leap that I've ever seen in person was done by Daniel Ilabaka. He's done some unbelievable jumps to gaps, landing in that cat leap position. So overall, these games are really, really cool. Obviously, they hinge a lot more on climbing or bouldering than on a lot of the parkour, and they do it really, really well. Again, I know we're looking at a video game, but yeah, actual rock climbers will take time to really plan out the perfect route for themselves. I would say some of the biggest differences that I saw in the games over the time is just the evolution of the quality. Again, I like how they've maintained this kind of messy, dirty movement of their characters throughout. It's clear that, again, that's a staple of the Uncharted franchise, but it seems like just the creativity of how they're using the movement has evolved, and it's been really cool to see that evolution. Final thoughts on Uncharted is it's really cool, it's really fun, and I hope that if you play it, that you enjoy all of these different aspects of the game, and then I hope that you go maybe find your local rock climbing gym, maybe explore your city a little bit, explore your town, because that's what these games are about. They're about exploration, and as much as I love video games and playing games, you know, the ultimate adventure is our own lives. And so, yeah, just make sure to find your own adventure. Thank you so much for hanging out on another episode of Gameology Experts React with me, Omar Zaki. Always so good to see you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.